Now at 10, the Joplin Empire Market and the Downtown Joplin Alliance hold their 4th annual chili cook-off. Plus, the George Washington Carver National Monument Park is showing off some of their findings from their Archaeological Investigations program. And 2 Pittsburgh organizations gather volunteers for community service on Highway 69.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Cale Chapman. Some Joplin residents came together for a chili cook-off today at the Empire Market. The 4th annual chili feed brought 8 contestants to share their chili recipes with the community. Judges and visitors both contributed to the vote for the best chili. The competition also included a wooden spoon trophy for whichever contestant used the most market ingredients. The director of the Empire Market says during the winter months, people may get out of the habit of going to the market, which is why events like these are important.
We try to come up with some kind of fun and engaging activities and events for people to remember that, we're still here, we're still open, we still have vendors who are selling produce and meat and eggs and bread, and this just is kind of an extra thing to get people to visit the market on a weekly basis.
Joplin professional firefighters placed first in the judges contest. All top 3 winners donated their earnings back to the market. The George Washington Carver National Monument Park is showing off some of their findings from the Archaeological Investigations program. After the park was established, there were some findings in the area that can show how life in the time of George Washington Carver was like. A lot of these items were found from the area of a cabin where George Washington Carver was allegedly born. Park guide Ryan O'Connell says archaeology is an important part of understanding the past.
It also allows people to see something from the past that could be underneath anyone's feet. History is always below the surface, and so this gives people an opportunity to view the past that walks right below their feet and to see artifacts from someone who is historically significant.
The free presentation will also be held tomorrow from 1 to 2 p.m. inside the park's visitor center. Earlier today, the Pittsburgh area young professionals and Pittsburgh Beautiful were joined by community members and city employees for a cleanup effort on Highway 69. The volunteers started on the north end of the bypass at the East Atkinson intersection and worked their way south.
I think the goal here today was just to be proud of Pittsburgh. It's where we live, it's where we're from. And we're not okay with this type of litter on the side of the highway. So the goal was to just organize, take care of it, prove that we can do it, and that any group who wants to accomplish something like this, just start a sign-up sheet, put it out on the internet, and you too can accomplish things like this.
The Pittsburgh area young professionals' next volunteer cleanup will be on Earth Day. A bright fireball streaked through the night sky over Tulsa, Oklahoma. The meteor was captured on a surveillance camera early Friday morning. Some residents report hearing a sonic boom. There's no word yet on where or if the meteor landed. Many roadways were closed today due to snow and ice covering Hays, Kansas, and other areas along Interstate 70. The Kansas Department of Transportation advised drivers that the roadways were snow-packed and icy. The National Weather Service issued a winter storm warning for the area until Saturday night. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us now for a first look at the weather.
Thank you very much, Cale. Yeah, lots of snow in northwestern Kansas. In fact, winter storm warnings are out for that area. Right now, we're looking at a close-in view of radar showing some showers in northern Rogers County extending over into Craig County. Also starting to see some snow in our area. If we expand this out, you can see snow now moving into the northern parts of our viewing area. You can see a winter weather advisory still in effect for a large chunk of northern Kansas. Here's a look at the road conditions. If you're traveling out toward the northwest side of the state, you can see that most of the roads in northwestern and north central Kansas are covered and partially covered with snow. And that's not going to be the case in our immediate area tonight. We're just going to see a mixture later on tonight and then maybe some light flurries by morning with temperatures down into the upper 20s. However, things are going to change. We're going to have a mix tomorrow, partly cloudy on Monday, but then a winter storm does impact our area Tuesday night into Wednesday, and I'll have all the details on that coming up in just a little bit.
Solar power is making headlines across the Southeast. In mid-January, a $2.5 billion investment for solar energy was announced in Georgia, and following December's TVA power blackouts, solar energy is turning heads and changing a few minds.
Through the years, you've seen solar energy here there, and everywhere in between. Well, almost.
There will be some nights that I'll go past midnight without even touching the grid.
The Tennessee Valley has been slow to adopt residential solar, experts tell us, compared to regions with more dependable sunshine.
And you have electricity on day by day. It's going to save you a little bit of money.
Rose Hale's able to power her renovated hay barn with mostly solar, sometimes for days on end. She only sends the power company a few bucks a month.
Well, we all want to save money, but I wanted to be able to take care of myself if there was a catastrophic outage.
Rose lives on this beautiful acreage in rural Knox County, but in the case of bad weather or something more cataclysmic, she likes having that peace of mind that solar brings her. Dr. Charles Sims out at UT says that may be one of the reasons people in rural areas adopt solar.
We saw lots of interesting high willingness to pays in fairly rural areas that I wasn't expecting either.
Sims studied 3,000 people around the Tennessee Valley to learn what makes them tick when their meter is ticking up.
And so what we found is that the biggest driver really is that upfront cost. So if that cost goes down, that's going to have a big impact on people's adoption.
Dr. Sims found that, on average, folks around the valley were only willing to shell out $500 for at-home solar, but after recent power outages, businesses won't tolerate blackout dates.
The thought that you may be without power for a day or 2 days and disrupting production is a pretty big incentive.
That's an incentive Rose was ready to pay for.
It was peace of mind. It was good to know that if something went down, they had the rolling blackouts, I knew that the refrigerator would keep running.
We take time now to honor a local veteran. Frank Miles served in the U.S. Army from 1943 to 1945. The Chautauqua, Kansas native fought in the European theater in World War II. As part of the 3rd Battalion 331st Infantry, Miles was involved in D-Day and the Battle of Normandy. Miles was awarded the World War II Victory Ribbon, Good Conduct Medal, the EEAME Theater Ribbon, Silver Service Star, and Bronze Star Medal. To Master Sergeant Frank Miles, we salute you, our 4-state hero. Coming up, the White House Chief of Staff is stepping down. Who might take his spot? Plus, new details about a shooting in an Indiana Walmart. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, who has served in the position since the start of the Biden administration, is preparing to step down, according to a new report. Klain will likely leave following President Biden's State of the Union address on February 7th. The New York Times was first to report this, citing senior administration officials. Klain has told colleagues since the midterm elections in November that he is preparing to leave. A successor is not yet in place, but some names floated include Labor Secretary Marty Walsh, Senior Advisor Anita Dunn, Domestic Policy Advisor Susan Rice, and former Coronavirus Response Coordinator Jeff Zients. There are new details about a shooting in an Indiana Walmart. A store employee is being hailed as a hero for helping stop the gunman. The aftermath caught on police body cam, which some viewers may find disturbing. CBS's Michael George joins us for more on that story.
Heather Moore is an absolute hero.
Officials say the loss of life could have been worse if not for the actions of that employee and law enforcement. Body camera footage shows armed officers searching aisle by aisle for an active shooter inside a Walmart store in Evansville, Indiana.
Back up, let's go.
It all started Thursday night. Investigators say ex-Walmart worker 25-year-old Ronald Mosley entered a staff break room with a 9mm handgun and shot an employee in the face. Officers arrived within minutes of the first 911 call.
Now, as you can see, officers are running inside the store. They're not waiting. They're not trying to develop a plan. They are just running straight into the store. And that is how we train in an active shooter situation.
And then...
Hey, shot fire!
Police say the suspect repeatedly shot at officers. And they fired back.
He's got the gun in his hand, guys, on the ground. Drop it! Hold fire! He's down!
Mosley was killed. No others were injured besides the wounded employee, who's in stable condition.
While it certainly could have been worse, our thoughts and prayers go out to the victim who was injured.
And investigators say Mosley was fired about 8 months ago for assaulting co-workers. He pleaded guilty and was actually in court for a mental health hearing the very day of the shooting. Police also say they found a suicide note at his home. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
A little later, sports director Jacob Leonard joins us for a recap of today's sports news.
And we're also going to take a look at the forecast for tonight, which includes some winter mix and also a bigger storm on Tuesday. We'll have that when we return. Well, the weekend started off with a cloudy, chilly, kind of cold, raw day out there with some rain and temperatures in the 30s for the most part, including right now in Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. A little bit of wet pavement down there. They've had some showers move through here in the last hour or so. And now we're starting to see on some radar some changes up towards the north. But first, let's take a look at the high today, 46. That was actually back in the morning. 28 the low, which was actually pretty close to the normals. And minus 11 back in 1985 was the record low. Winter weather advisory are still in effect in parts of Kansas. You can see the snow now starting to move into the northern parts of our viewing area, but that is about it. This is really not going to be a big system. We're just going to see a few flakes of snow as we head into the overnight hours, and tomorrow morning not expecting any travel problems with this system. The next system, different story. We'll talk about that in a second, but first you can see the system over us now starting to pull away, but here's the next one. It's now moving on shore in Washington. That's the big system that's going to dive to the south, and then as it kicks out into the plains, that's when we're going to be combining that with some cold air, and that means winter-like precipitation. It's winter-like out there right now with temperatures in the 30s with easterly winds, and it feels like right now in the 20s up to the north in Yates Center and Iola with 29. A little bit warmer here in the metro, around 37 degrees. Currently in Joplin, we're sitting at 37 with an east-southeast wind at 3. Feels like 37 out there, and the dew point is currently at 34 degrees. Rain chances tonight are going to be the highest, and then they drop as we head towards the morning hours, and there's that mix or a switch over to maybe a little bit of light snow as we head into the morning hours, but not a big chance of that. Then as we look at the forecast for tonight, you can see mostly cloudy skies. That system will rapidly move through tonight, and by tomorrow morning we'll see lows in the 20s and 30s with northerly winds, and then tomorrow afternoon we'll see temperatures in the 30s for the most part, maybe touching 40 in a few spots with the showers mainly off towards the east. Then Sunday night into Monday, that's when we're going to see a little bit of clearing and temperatures dropping down into the 20s with northerly winds. But then as we go through Monday afternoon, the clouds are going to start to increase once again from the west with highs in the low to mid 40s across the area, maybe approaching 50 down on the Oklahoma side. Then Monday night into Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies with temperatures in the 20s with the next storm system starting to move in. Now, this is the preliminary forecast for the snowfall amounts on the next storm system. This is not chiseled in stone because depending upon how that storm ejects out into the plains, this could move back to the north and west or could move further south. But this is a general idea of where we're expecting the heaviest snow to be, and it's going to be right along I-44 and points south. That's where the best chance of really accumulating snow is going to be. We'll just have to wait and see as more data comes in on the storm system. Here's tonight's system. That's moving away. Cold air comes in behind it. Here comes the next storm, and as it ejects out into the plains, it'll start interacting with that cold air, and that's why we're looking for the chances of snow to be a better chance on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Then that system moves away, and the cold air comes in behind it in its wake. The next 7 days looks like this. 40% chance of showers tonight, maybe switching over to mixed as we head into the morning hours. Then Monday, partly cloudy, but then another storm system on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's going to be the big snowmaker. And then as we head towards next weekend, yet another storm system. And yes, that has the potential of having some winter-like precipitation as well. So winter is come back and is going to stay for a while.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look for out there.
We've been spoiled lately, so it's time to get back to normal.
For sure, yeah. Alrighty. Thank you, Sam. Well, still ahead, the Colgan girls aim to repeat as Tony DeBray Classic champions in Liberal. And the Kansas City Chiefs try to earn their 5th straight trip to the AFC Championship. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and post-game reactions from today's divisional round matchup with the Jaguars next.
Well, after a bye week to begin the playoffs last week, the Kansas City Chiefs are back in action this weekend in the AFC divisional round. Kansas City is at home tonight, hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars for a spot in the AFC Championship game. Now, with a win today, the Chiefs would play for the conference title for the 5th consecutive season. Patrick Mahomes going to his guy early. Travis Kelce, 6 yards for the touchdown. Kansas City goes up 7-0. Later in the first, scary moment for the Chiefs here. Patrick Mahomes' right ankle gets twisted up as he goes to the ground. He leaves the game for a little bit, but would return to the field later. Now, while he was out, Chad Henne in there at quarterback. No problem for Kansas City. He finds Kelce. 14 catches, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Kelce tonight. Chiefs win 27-20. They're headed to the conference championship game for the 5th straight season.
There's a couple throws here and there where I try to plant off that foot, and it didn't let me kind of plant like I usually do. And so a couple throws I didn't make. I told Coach I want to still throw it downfield, and so we were able to make some throws there after the first few drives, and I think he got a little confidence that I could protect myself. And so credit to our defense, man, holding us in that game, especially after the start of that second half when I wasn't able to get stuff going. So they held us in that game, made some big plays at the end, and we were able to score enough points to win.
The Carl Junction girls basketball team has played in 4 tournaments so far this season. They've made the tournament championship game in all 4. Today, the Bulldogs have a shot at another tournament title facing Kickapoo in the Bill Hanson Memorial Championship in Pittsburgh. At Carl Junction, 14-1 on a 9-game winning streak coming into the day. Hot start for Kickapoo though. Maya Nieto pass faked and pulls up and connects on the 3. Chiefs lead 16-4 after the first. Now CJ didn't shoot it well in the first half. Here though, Chloe Burke, corner 3, but the Bulldogs down 18 at halftime. Third quarter, here comes Carl Junction. Desi Williams, corner 3, then Kylie Scott steps out. Same corner, same result. Bulldogs get it to an 8-point game going to the 4th. Now they're down just 3 here. Desi Williams, big time 3-ball. Just like that, we're tied up with less than 2 minutes to go. Now, still tied, 1 second on the clock. After a foul, Chloe Burke at the line with a chance to put her team in the lead. Hits the first, then hits the second. Puts CJ out in front, then final chance for Kickapoo. Kylie Scott breaks up the long pass, and that's the ball game. Carl Junction erases an 18-point halftime deficit to win the tournament title over Kickapoo 41-39.
We came out with more toughness in the second half. Obviously, holding them to no points in the third quarter was a big piece of that victory. Chloe Burke was phenomenal defensively. I mean, just phenomenal defensively. And so was Kylie in the second half, you know, grabbing some rebounds. So was Desi on the boards. Man, our kids fought back, and we were really tough and got some good things accomplished there in the second half to get that win.
For the Southeast Lancer Classic, Parsons and Columbus meet in the boys' championship tonight. Early on, Colt Ungehauer, nice two-handed jam on the break. Columbus leads early, but Parsons finishes the first quarter strong. Landon Wheat, in transition, rises up and finishes. Vikings lead by 7 going to the second. That was back and forth the entire first half. Jesse Jones knocks it down from the top of the key for 3. Other end, Landon Midget, just before half, actually beats the buzzer here to give Columbus a 3-point halftime lead. Stayed tied all the way, but Parsons wins the Lancer Classic tonight 54-50. In the girls bracket, 2 more Southeast Kansas teams for the title at the Lancer Classic, with Parsons hitting the floor against Neota Shea. Tonight, it's a Parsons sweep. The Viking girls win the tournament title over the Blue Streaks 53-42. In Frontenac, today is also the final day of the 4-State Raider Classic at Frontenac High School. And the girls bracket, the Nevada Tigers, are in the finals today after knocking out tournament host Frontenac on Friday night. And Nevada, tough draw for the tournament title today, facing the Blue Springs Wildcats. We'll pick it up second quarter. Clara Swearingen, she had a nice night for the Tigers in the semifinals last night. 3-ball there. She scores 11 today. A little bit later, Katie Johnson also connects from deep. That point is just a 1-point game, but Blue Springs, pretty good this afternoon. They would close it out. Kaylee Jenkins. 3-ball for the Wildcats. Then later in the third, check this out. Jayla Cornelius gets a hand on the inbound pass, then collects it, takes off and gets all the way to the rim for the lay-in. Blue Springs wins 55-44. Nevada finishes as tournament runner-up. Now in the boys' championship game in Frontenac, it's Webb City taking on Edmond Santa Fe. Cardinals not able to get it done, falling 52-41 to finish as tournament runner-up. Webb City now 13-4 this season. We'll be back in action on Tuesday hosting Hillcrest. Well, tonight is championship night at the Tony Dubray Classic in Liberal. On the girls' side, Colgan Panthers have a chance to repeat as champions facing the tournament host Bulldogs. Now, Colgan 10-0 coming into the night, ranked second in the state in Class 2A in Kansas. Now in the second, Liberal hanging around. Abby Barton hit the 3 for the Bulldogs, but Colgan really gets going and finishes this one off. Pass goes inside to Lily Brown. She did what she does. She finishes the night with 23 points. Then Colgan going to the freshman Jakayla Davis, top of the key for 3 at that point. Panthers rolling up 40-19. Then in the fourth, Lauren Torrance in the paint. Torrance scores 22 tonight. Panthers, once again, Tony DuBray Classic champions, beating Liberal 55-31. On the boys' side, another undefeated team in Galena looking for a tournament title against Thomas Jefferson. In the first, nobody gets in Jack Perry's face, so he pulls up and buries the 3. Good start for the Bulldogs. Now in the second, Galena moving the ball around the perimeter. Ball finds Maverick Harmon. 3-ball of his own. Harmon scores 15 tonight. More long ball action from the Bulldogs. This time it's Hadley Price. This one from Price makes it 63-30. But they're not done. It's not a Galena highlight without Tyler Little, right? Spinning here. Reverse and the foul. Tyler Little, the tournament MVP. Galena wins the DuBray Classic title tonight, 74-41. So, Kale, as you can see, busy night of high school basketball. I love tournament week. It's always really busy, but once you get to championship day, it's always a lot of fun.
Heck yeah, no, you love to see everybody out there, love to see the local people represented.
For sure.
It's a great weekend, for sure. Alrighty, well, we'll be right back with more news after this. All right, welcome back. Sam, give us a final look at the
A little bit of a mix tonight, a better chance of snow on Tuesday and Wednesday morning, and then yet another system next weekend. So winter is here to stay.
Well, there you go, something to keep an eye on. That's our time for now. We'll leave you with a video of people in Hong Kong celebrating the Lunar New Year. We'll see you all tomorrow.